Hello and welcome to a new episode of Treasures in which we explore one of the Egyptian sites. We'll be back after the break, so stay with us. Today we're coming to you from the area of Islamic Cairo. Actually, the area here is known as the area of Bab al-Wazir, and today we will be looking into the complex of Shams al-Din Agha Sonqor. And actually he was from the Bahari Mamluks. He lived during the 14th century AD, and the interesting thing about the complex, it's a complex that houses a mosque, a madrasa, as well as a mausoleum of Agha Sonqor and his sons, as well as some of the family member of Al-Nasir Muhammad. And actually Agha Sonqor was related to him. He was his son-in-law as well as his masters of the hunt. The mosque dates to the 14th century, but it was restored in the 17th century, and that is why it carries the name of the restorer, who is Ibrahim Agha Mustahfizan. It has three names: the Agha Sonqor Mosque after Shams al-Din Agha Sonqor, the owner of it. It's called also the Blue Mosque, as well as the Ibrahim Agha Mosque and Complex. And now let's explore it together. The Agha Sonqor Mosque, also known as the Blue Mosque or the Mosque of Ibrahim Agha, is located in the Tibbana Quarter in Islamic Cairo, between Bab Zuwayla and the citadel of Saladin. The Agha Sonqor Mosque also serves as a funerary complex containing the mausoleums of its founder Shams al-Din Agha Sonqor, his sons, a number of children of the Bahari Mamluk Sultan al-Nasir Muhammad, and that of its principal restorer Ibrahim Agha al-Mustahfizan. The mosque was built in 1347 on the orders of the Emir Shams al-Din Agha Sonqor during the reign of the Mamluk Sultan al-Muzaffar Haji. Agha Sonqor was the son-in-law of former Sultan al-Nasir Muhammad and one of the more prominent emirs of the latest court. Agha Sonqor's influence in the affairs of the Sultanate grew during the reign of al-Nasir's successors following his death in 1314. To shed more light on the Agha Sonqor Mosque, joining us now is lecturer and Egyptologist Mr. Ahmad Hamdi. Mr. Ahmad, first of all, would you tell us a bit more about the area itself?
The area is known since the time of the Mamluks, and it's one of the places that was known also during the time of Muhammad Ali, when he got rid of the Mamluks during the massacre of the citadel in 1811. So after the area known as Ad-Darb al-Ahmar, and the mosque dates back to the 14th century. It was built by one of the leaders during the time of al-Nasir Muhammad ibn Qalawun, and he was a son-in-law probably for the al-Nasir himself.
What about the facade and the most characteristic features of the mosque and complex?
The most important feature here is the Mamluk design. The open court open over the four riwaks, and there is three crypts inside this mosque, including the one who built the mosque and the one who usurped the mosque during the 17th century. Then we have another one known as Kujuk, was buried on the right-hand side of the entrance. The minaret of this mosque locates on the right side of the entrance at the corner, and it's one of the rare minarets that was known by the early illustrators, the circular one from base to top.
Well, now let's start entering, and would you explain to us the interior as well?
Yes, the interior will be very interesting, especially we will see some of the blue tiles that was probably imported from Damascus or Istanbul.
Between 1652 and 1654, the Ottoman general Emir Ibrahim Agha al-Mustahfazan, who was a general of the Janissaries, began a major renovation project for the Aqsunqur Mosque, restoring its roof and arcades and adding columns to support the mosque's southern hall. Significantly, he decorated the building with blue and green tiles, hence the mosque's unofficial name became the Blue Mosque. The tiles, which were imported from Constantinople and Damascus, were crafted in the Iznik style with floral motifs such as cypress trees and vases holding tulips. Ibrahim Agha built his mausoleum, which was also decorated with marble tiles in the southern hall. It was constructed using the typical Mamluk architectural style and included a mihrab, a prayer's niche, resembling the mausoleums of Mamluk emirs, also located in the mosque complex. In line with Ottoman traditions at the time, the Aqsunqur Mosque was officially renamed after its restorer as the Ibrahim Agha Mosque. The later name was not used frequently. In 1908, the Aqsunqur Mosque was restored by the Comité de Conservation des Monuments de l'Art Arabe. The 1992 Cairo earthquake damaged the arcades of the mosque's porticos, but they were reinforced by the Egyptian government in the mid-90s to prevent additional deterioration. In 2009, a 6-year renovation project was launched, then the mosque was inaugurated in 2015.
We're now in the open court of the Mosque of Aqsunqur, and we will be learning more about him from Ahmed. Ahmed, would you tell us more about Aqsunqur himself?
Aqsunqur is one of the Mamluks of Nasr Muhammad during the 14th century, and he built this mosque in the year probably 1346, 1347. But later on, one of the leaders during the time of the Ottomans usurped the mosque, and he added for himself a cenotaph, known after that as the crypt of Mustahfazan, now located inside the mosque to the right side of the entrance.
Would you tell us about the components of this open court, please?
Well, we have an open court, and originally there was a fountain in the middle, a gold one, as was mentioned, probably dates to the 15th century, later replaced and then lost. And now we have a little garden in the middle of the mosque. But we have 4 riwaqs open to the sahn of the mosque, and 3 crypts. The one on the right for Mustahfazan, the left one for Kojuk, and the original one, or the oldest one, of Aqsunqur al-Nasiri, dates to the 14th century.
Actually, the court is quite interesting with the white and red bricks all over it, or stone.
It's a stone of diachrome marble, 2 colors. We have also more colors near the wall of the mihrab or the prayer niche. But also, it's one of the remarkable features here is the tiles, the blue tiles, that cover parts of this mosque, that was known also as a decoration or a part of the decoration of the Ottoman houses during the 17th and the 18th centuries. Originally, this tiles was imported either from Damascus or Istanbul, and decorated the mosque, especially to the wall of the mihrab. And originally we have two rectangular panels, unfortunately lost or robbed during the British occupation to Egypt.
It's worth mentioning before we leave the spot that actually the area of the fountain was just over there, just behind us over here. So now, which is the next spot you'll be showing to us?
I will show you the cenotaph of Mustahfazan. It's very interesting to see it.
All right, let's go. Right now we're at the doorway of the mausoleum of Ibrahim Agha Mustahfazan, and actually you told me that actually the proper term would be crypt for it.
Yes, it was added during the 17th century by Ibrahim Agha Mustahfazan as a part of this mosque, and probably it was usurped during his time due to the usage of the different blue tiles in the interior of this mausoleum and at the wall of the prayer niche as well. And one of the most important features here is the usage of these tiles that was introduced for the first time during the early centuries of the Ottoman conquest. Also, we can see some Mamluk features inside this mausoleum. So it's important because it's a combination between the Mamluk style of art and the Ottoman style of art.
Now, you told me earlier that actually there is distinguishment between the term crypt and mausoleum, so would you tell me more about it?
Yes, a mausoleum is a separate building, have a tomb inside or a grave inside. While the crypt, it's a tomb as well, but it's a part of another building. So that's the main difference.
So actually, although the title here is mausoleum, but actually we should call it a crypt, isn't it?
It should be called a crypt.
Now, actually, before the interview, you told me that actually characteristic feature of this place is the beautiful blue tiles behind us. So I think we need to approach it and so that you can explain more about it.
Yes, we will talk about these tiles because it's one of the most important features during the 17th and the 18th centuries. And this tile was a part of the interior of the Ottoman houses during these centuries as well. And it became a part for this mosque.
Would you talk to us about the designs on this wall?
On the wall here at the entrance of the mausoleum, we can see the star pattern decoration, one of the most important features that was known since the time of the Fatimids and widely used during the time of the Mamluks. But seems during the time of the Ottomans, this star pattern decoration was used inside the interior of the different mausoleums and the different mosques. And we found a part of this mausoleum and the usage of the different marble of the different colors, which called the polychrome marble.
Now, all these interlock together, it's like a huge jigsaw puzzle, isn't it?
Yes, it looks like that, and it's one of the most unique decorative elements known since the time of the medieval centuries.
What about the blue tiles? So would you talk to us about them here or inside?
We will talk about the blue tiles generally inside the mosque, but it's much better to talk about these tiles inside, in the interior of the mosque.
So let's go. Right now we're inside the 17th century mausoleum of Ibrahim Agha Mustahfizan. Well, would you tell us about the characteristic features here, please?
The most important characteristic features here is the blue tiles that was imported probably from Damascus or Istanbul, and it was Iznik type, and it shows peach blossoms, the bluebell, the carnations, and types of leaves called the saz. So this style of tiles was known since the 17th and the 18th centuries and was used widely inside the mosques and the different Ottoman houses. Just behind me we have the mihrab or the prayer niche, not a big one, it's a small one, was carved especially for the mausoleum of Ibrahim Agha Mustahfazan, inlaid with different types of marble, different colors I mean, and it shows the word Allah at the upper top with a juggled arch and the marble dados at the lower part of the mihrab.
What about the mausoleum itself, which is to your left-hand side?
Well, the Ibrahim Mustahfazan was buried in this hole that was added during the 17th century. The superstructure was made of marble and very nicely carved with the Ottoman hood, and also we have some windows to enlight the whole of the mausoleum.
It's interesting also if we look at the ceiling.
Yes, the ceiling is very interesting. It's originally a wooden ceiling, painted. Unfortunately, we still have some of these colors rightly preserved or originally preserved over the walls.
Now, actually, the wood is quite interesting, and this particular area, the colors are still quite stunning and vivid. Would you tell us a bit about the colors and the decorations here?
Well, the decorations is really remarkable because as we are in Egypt, we are a poor country in wood. We don't have much wood here. So we do import from the Levant and from Asia Minor during that time. And because of the rarity of the wood, the artisans make use of every part of wood that they have, either if they use it for the windows or the doors, or even for the lintels of these windows. As we have here, we have nice, very nice colors, preserved, very well preserved over the wood and recently renovated. They use special chemicals for this restorations. They have to clean the wood and to keep the colors originally over the surface.
Also, the shutters of the windows are quite interesting because we can see traces of the decorations on them.
Yes, the traces of decorations is visible here, and some of these windows, one of them open to the left side on the open court, and the other two on both sides of the mihrab. The right one open or looking for the mausoleum of Aqsunqur al-Nasiri, and the other recess behind me is another door leads to the exterior of the street.
Now, earlier we have discussed the marble in the previous room, but still it's quite interesting to look at this type of marble as well.
Yes, this marble was obtained from the quarries, and it was carved during the 17th century, especially for this mausoleum, either with geometrical or floral patterns, as we see here.
Today we've learned a lot about this magnificent edifice and complex of Shams al-Din Aqsunqur and Ibrahim Agha Mustahfizan, and he's the guy who restored this monument actually, and we've looked at it, we've looked at the mausoleum as well, we have learned a lot about it, and by this we come to an end of this particular treasure, and till we meet again with a new treasure and a new place, it's goodbye.